This is Reality Dispatch by Jim Mins.
Nikos sat away from his favorite seat and over towards the very back of the cafe. George, the owner, did not notice until he saw the plumes of smoke emit from the corner table. Nikos sat alone, as was his wont and usual desire. He did not converse with the waitstaff or seek to engage with anyone who happened to be in the area or walking past at that particular hour. "Lunch, Nikos?" George asked. Nikos didn't look George in the eye and simply waved him off with his free hand as he took a drag with the other. In the kitchen, George kicked the back leg of Juan's chair. Juan had been reclining as he read the newspaper. It was customary for George to tolerate a relaxed attitude from his barista, but not when Nikos was around. This was because the famed writer would often bring his typewriter into the cafe to work on his manuscripts amongst the tranquility of a roaring Sicilian crowd. As a result, George was supplemented with secondary business from fans of Nikos's work who would inquire as to which table and chairs Nikos had sat at to craft such greats as Zorba the Greek. "What's with Nikos?" Juan asked as he steamed up the coffee machine. "No idea. Make his drink," George commanded. George was worried about Nikos, and it wasn't for superficial reasons, such as maintaining the man's business. He knew Nikos to be a fragile being, prone to bouts of company with the black dog for days, and sometimes weeks. As Juan finished the short black and placed it on a tray, George relieved him and took the drink over to the back wall himself. "What's up with you this afternoon, my good man?" George asked. He placed the tray down on the table and looked up to get a glimpse of Nikos. The writer was on his 8th cigarette, having already overloaded the ashtray. He had tears in his eyes. "Nikos, Jesus, are you okay?" George asked. "I am not he," Nikos began, "but I can see him, and I have witnessed him." Nikos attempted to explain, punching out another butt and lighting his next. George swayed in his stance, unsure what to ask next. "You may leave me, George. I appreciate the solace," Nikos instructed. "Okay, sir," George said obediently. "Yell out if you need." George placed the tray under his arm and proceeded back to the kitchen. "George," Nikos called out. George spun around. "Do you pray?" George was stunned by the personal question and hesitated to answer. Nikos continued to speak before he could. "I haven't in many years. Yet, each night I am visited by these prolific visions of the Lord in all of these various circumstances throughout his life and ministry. Is that odd? Why do I deserve to be visited by these visions? I have lived what you would call an unideal Christian life," Nikos confessed. He wiped away tears as he explained his mental state. When he had finished, he wept into his free hand. George was wise not to respond and backed away silently. He continued observing Nikos from the kitchen window as the writer smoked the entire packet in the cafe and left without drinking from the glass that was offered.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.